Hey guys, we are live. I'm Jeff with eBay Addicts, and today I have a brand new guest for you guys. I have a Flip Nick is here. How are you doing today?
Excellent. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. I'm glad to see you today. I reached out to you a while back, and our schedules have been conflicting, so we finally got a chance to sit down and meet up. So,
Yeah.
real quick, in case people in the audience don't know who you are, tell everybody who you are, where you're from, and tell them what it is that you do.
Yeah. So my name is Nick. I go by Flip Nick on Instagram and YouTube, and uh, yeah, basically full-time reseller. This is my full-time gig. I have a whole little warehouse set up here on my property. I live in Virginia. I'm from California. I joined the military when I was 19. I joined the Navy. Got stationed on the East Coast, and haven't left since then. So been on the East Coast for a decade and a half, I think, and yeah, enjoying life as a reseller and a YouTube content creator.
Yeah, man, that's awesome. So, how many years were you in the Navy?
So I did 5 years. I started and joined as a submariner, and then after a year of that schooling, they were overmanned, and so they took volunteers to say who does not want to go on a submarine, and I was definitely not wanting to go on a submarine at that point. And so I spent 4 years in aviation, working on jet hydraulics and aircraft structure.
Yeah, I wouldn't be one of the volunteers that want to go in the submarine either. I don't
No,
I'd be like,
no.
I would. So that's cool, man. So you got out of the military, and then kind of tell everybody a little bit about your backstory of what like your job was before you became a reseller. Because I was watching your YouTube videos, and I think you said you started reselling around 2017. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's right. So I got out of the Navy in 2010, and for the last 6 months or so of being in the Navy, I planned to start a small business of detailing cars, a mobile auto detailing company. So I did that. I started that up, and it grew rapidly. Um, I had a steady clientele. I had a van, a big panel van with a trailer, and I hauled all my water and generator, all these things around. And I would go to banks, and I would go to corporate businesses, and I would detail people's cars. It got really hot in the summer, and it got really cold in the winter in Virginia. And so after a year of doing that, I sold that business off and used the funds from that to start up a photography business. I was a hobby photographer, and I got into wedding photography, just kind of dabbling at first, and then went full force into that. Spent uh, 8, 9, 10 years doing that, and that was really fun. I really enjoyed it, but I did not like having my weekends totally locked down every single weekend, because you're photographing weddings all weekend, and then during the week you're editing photos and meeting with clients. And so in 2017, we started the transition to move away from wedding photography into reselling. And so it started off slowly reselling Mercari and eBay, and then we added Poshmark. And then a year and a half ago or so, went full time. Haven't looked back. I feel like it's more busy now. I'm more busy now, definitely, with the YouTube channel and reselling and everything else than I was then. But it's been a blast. I'm having fun with it.
Okay. All right. Well, awesome. We're live. I just wanted to give a quick shout out to Derek is here. The ATL Flippers. He says, "What's up, Jeff and Nick? If you guys are in the chat, if you want to ask our guest questions, you go ahead and drop questions in the chat." Yeah, when I was living in Kentucky, it was the same way. It felt like 6 months out of the year was hot, 6 months out of the year was cold, and there was like maybe 2 weeks of spring, 2 weeks of fall, and then we'd go right back to hot and
That's right.
cold. So I definitely can relate when it's like, oh, it's finally decent weather. We've got 2 weeks of spring, and it'll be like in the middle of like in the beginning of May or end of April, and then all of a sudden you would be burning up again. So,
Right.
so that's cool. So it sounds like that you were kind of doing your own entrepreneurial thing ever since you got out of the Navy. You said you had your auto detailing business, and then you had your photography business, and then you kind of eased out of that, so you have more of a flexible schedule to kind of be to kind of be a full time reseller. So
Yeah.
how do you go about managing your schedule? Because I know you said earlier you sound like you have a kind of a hectic schedule with being a full time parent and a husband, and then still making time to shoot YouTube videos, and then focusing on your resale business. How do you kind of manage the everything?
I'm not really sure, man. I wish I could tell you a definite answer. I've tried scheduling things out, but that doesn't seem to work for me. I don't know. So let's just say my work schedule is from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. that's set aside strictly for work. If I feel like there's extra work that needs to go in, it's typically before those hours start, so I'll get up earlier and do that, or after everyone else has gone to bed. I'll stay up late and either list items or photograph or do whatever I need to do. Hiring people to work either remotely or on the property where we live has helped. But as far as like scheduling, like this day I'm going sourcing, this day I'm doing YouTube videos, it's kind of like whatever I'm feeling in the moment. The time just opens up and I just walk into it. Okay, hey, let's make a YouTube video. Here we go. For 2022, I did set some goals in order to make more YouTube videos and be more strategic with that. And so there is dedicated time that I'm spending throughout the week for YouTube to go sourcing so that I have footage, and then to actually like sit down and produce the video. So I am going in more methodically with that, but I'm still trying to figure out like the actual day-to-day schedule routine. Yeah, I'm still trying to figure it out.
Yeah, I do a lot of my eBay stuff as far as listing and all that at night. It seems to work better for me when, it's midnight or something and everybody else is in bed asleep. No one's calling you, no one's texted you, nobody's emailing you, nobody needs anything, and you can kind of shut the door, turn your music on, and just start cranking out some listings. So yeah, you mentioned that you said you had some goals this year for 2022. I saw your YouTube video, but maybe in your own words you can tell people maybe 3 or 4 of your top goals that you have this year for 2022, because we're still in January, and I think they said like 75 to 80% of the people have already given up their New Year's resolutions and their goals within like 3 weeks or whatever of the new year. But so go ahead and tell us some of your projects that you're working on this year.
Yeah, sure. So my main goal, my main focus is to actually go more full time with YouTube, be more serious about it than I have been. So I would like to see my subscribership double from I think we're at 16,000 now. If we could double that to 32,000 by the end of the year, I would be very pleased with that. But I learned from someone on YouTube. He said that subscribership is something you don't really have control of. So control the things that you have control of, and that would be videos. I think I'm right at 360 videos. If I can produce 500, hit my 500th video by the end of the year, I will be so happy with myself and the I don't know, the progress. You can't really control how many people subscribe or like or view your videos, but you can control how much your output is. And so my output, if I can get to my 500th video on the channel by the end of the year, I will be super happy with that. With reselling, if I can get to 2,000 active listings across all platforms, I would be really happy with that. My stuff has been selling pretty insanely the past couple of weeks, and so that number is dwindling faster than I can list. Maybe I should raise my prices, I guess. What are some of the other ones? I adopted this habit. I'm working on it. That is, it's called the one touch rule. And I think that this can help anyone and everyone, no matter who you are or where you're at. But basically, if you grab something, if you pick something up, you don't put it down until you put it in its right place. Because if you put it down in its wrong place, or you just set it on the table or what have you, you have to pick it back up to put it where it goes anyways. So for organization and for just to be a more, an organized person, just put things back the minute you're done with it. That's something I've really struggled with my whole life, is like staying organized. And so that's something that's very huge on my list of to-dos or my goals for the year.
Yeah, I got a quick question. Were you you were at Harry Tornado's video when he had his 100,000 subscriber celebration? That was you, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was me. He so I made a video a couple months before that about Harry Tornado and if he would pass Paul Cantu in terms of subscribers. And I did like this whole breakdown between him and a few other YouTubers. And he saw that and he reached out and he was like, dude, this is awesome. I love this video. I would love to have you come and help shoot and video the 100,000 sub video. And I was like, yeah, absolutely. So we worked out a deal, and he took care of a bunch of stuff, helped me get down there to help him. And it was a blast, like hanging out with him and Profit Monsters, Drew and Joey Bada Bing 22. Those guys, like just hanging out with them was an awesome time that weekend.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, I live in Florida, and so I've had pretty much all those guys on the channel before, and especially Drew, Profit Monsters, and Joey Body Being 22. So it looks like you guys had fun. I saw where you guys rented a limousine or something, and they were running around going to thrift stores looking for stuff to buy to resell and donate. So looks like you guys had a blast.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
Okay, cool. Now to change the subject a little bit, what would you say is your niche that you resell? It looks like you sell a lot of clothing and jeans and shoes and things like that. So could you talk a little bit about what your niche is? And you said that you resell on other platforms. So do you cross post or cross list on other platforms as well?
Yeah, I do. So the main niche that I stick with is primarily shoes. I would say I have more shoes than anything else. But I have been branching out into shirts. You can see behind me, there's a lot of shirts hanging up. There's jeans on the bottom there. I've got a couple hundred shirts in inventory. I've got a couple hundred pairs of jeans in inventory. I've got about 400 pairs of shoes in inventory currently. And that's always cycling through. You know, people are always buying, so we're always replenishing. I do mess with handbags. I do mess with electronics a little bit. I stay away from like toys and all that. I'm not really there. But electronics are good for me. And then, yes, I do cross post between Poshmark, Mercari, and eBay. eBay being the primary. Poshmark is kind of my secondary, and then Mercari's the lowest of the three. But yeah, I use Vendoo to cross post between platforms. It's seamless, and that it tends to work for me really well. But yeah, those are the big three that I mess with.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I haven't really tried a cross promoting platform. I just was emailing List Perfectly today. I was trying to schedule something to have them on the channel because I think if you have a platform that can cross list and you're selling something like you said, shoes or blue jeans or clothing or something like that, if you have it listed to multiple platforms, the idea is that you should be able to get more eyeballs on that item and hopefully it would sell a little bit quicker. So
That's right.
I saw that you shop a lot at the Goodwill bins. Where are some of the main places that you go sourcing at? And do you have any tips or tricks or advice to help other people? Because this has been, you've been reselling since 2017. So maybe you might have some pointers or some advice to help other people with as far as their sourcing goes.
Yeah, so I do go to the Goodwill bins fairly often. It's about 45 minutes, 50 minutes away from me. So it's at least a once a week trip for me. But mainly like right in my town, I live in a town of about 90,000 people. And there's a few thrift stores here that are really good to me. And I could probably just source from those three alone and be good. But the Southeast Virginia area where I live has about 70 to 75 thrift stores. I literally am trying to hit every one of them this year, but I would need a much bigger budget to frequent all of them all of the time. It's an excellent area. Like Florida, Florida's a very heavy military kind of area. And so is Southeast Virginia. We have, a couple of the largest military bases in the world in this area. And so we have a ton of military, and with a lot of military comes a lot of turnover. So they're always donating stuff. People are always donating really, really good stuff to the thrift stores. As far as tips to help people, I mean, I don't know. Just be hungry. Like, just stay hungry. I walk into the thrift store and I understand, like, some people live in an area where you go into the thrift and there's nothing there. I get that. But I don't experience that because no matter where I'm going, what thrift store, I will find something. There's not one store that I'm going to miss something. Like every store has something. You just got to find it. And I would say maybe just keep your eyes peeled, do product research, learn things. And I think it breaks down to that is that if you're going into a store looking for something and you don't find it, or you don't find anything in the store, it might be because you're just not aware as you could be to brands, products, items. If you're going into a store only looking for electronics, they may not have electronics there. They might be sold out or they don't process electronics, but there will be other things there that are resellable. So I don't discriminate. I will buy anything to sell it. Anything. I don't care. Though I like shoes and clothing, I'm not picky. I will find it.
Yeah. Yeah, my thing is to just try to hit multiple different places because you may find one item and it may be a hat or shoes or shirt, but then there may be a line and you're waiting in line for 15 minutes to check out to buy a hat for 50 cents that you're going to sell for $20. And it's like, was your time worth you waiting in line for 10 to 15 minutes to check out to get that one item when you could go hit, the reason why I'm saying that is because back before we had this whole lockdown, there were a lot of places that stayed open later. Now places are closing earlier. So it's like you have only a certain window of time where you can go out and go sourcing. And if you're spending in 10, 15, 20 minutes waiting in line to check out only to get a handful of items, you might be better off leaving and going home with nothing and then hitting, 4 or 5 more stores in that area. Like if you have a route, I think it would be a lot easier to go that route. I've had times where I've hit, 10 places, like 10 pawn shops or 10 thrift stores in one day. And it's like, you can, identify and look in there and say, okay, I've been here for 10 minutes, 15 minutes. Do I see anything that's good? Is the stuff here overpriced? And then move to the next store, because not every one of them is going to be a gold mine. And, you want to take all that stuff into consideration, like, the time it takes you to drive there, find a parking space, wait in line to check out. And it's like, is it worth it to only come home with 1 or 2 items from that one thrift store? So that's the way I look at it. You try to value, your time as well. If you can walk out of there with 20, 30 items, and maybe it'll be, worth it. But you only have a certain window of time to do everything,
Yeah, that is true. That's a good point for sure. That definitely makes sense.
Yeah, let me say hello to a few people in the chat. I wanted to say hey to Laura. Laura is here in the chat. I wanted to say hey to Sal's HQ. Regina is here. Hey, Regina. I hope you're doing well today. I wanted to give a shout out to BK from the Rockies is here. And Zach is here. Utah bought and gone. He says, Nick, what's up, man? Your Amazon book shipment video helped me get started with Amazon. I appreciate you. Just hit my 1 year mark in Amazon a few months ago. Okay, well, awesome.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So, you have a goal, like a threshold of a certain number of sales that you're looking to hit this year, like gross sales with your resale business?
So, yeah, the net profit that I want to hit is 80K, and that's really what I'm paying attention to as my benchmark. And I know that if my margins are 70% profit, 30% fees and shipping and all that, then yeah, like 150 would be kind of where we need to hit for gross. And then when I say net profit, that's obviously pre-tax, because tax would have to come out of that. But yeah, 80K is like the number that I want to see come through the door after fees and shipping. I do have other avenues of income, meaning like I have the YouTube channel, so that pays. I do a lot of affiliate marketing stuff. I have and I'm not plugging this at all, so I'm not going to talk much about it. But like I have an Amazon course for selling books. It's like a basic course, and those all generate income throughout the year. So I don't know. There's a lot of different avenues where money's coming in. I'm not placing any one thing above anything else other than YouTube. I want to make YouTube like the top tier income earner for the year by the end of the year, ideally.
Yeah, well, I think YouTube can sometimes be a grind. I know earlier you said that you would like to hit 500 videos, so I definitely can relate to that. And it looks like that you take a lot of time, when you're sourcing videos, editing the footage and all that. So talk a little bit about your YouTube channel, what kind of content you make. If somebody hasn't gone by to check your channel, I'll kind of let them know what kind of content you make. Do you do like sourcing videos, what sold videos? Let's talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, so I do a lot of sourcing videos, and I try to have like a healthy mix of sourcing video, but also tutorial to kind of teach something. I want someone to watch my video and walk away saying, I actually learned something. I didn't just watch for, just for relaxation, pleasure purposes. I watched for knowledge value. Like, but then I do have like straight up tutorials where we just dive into the meat and potatoes of a topic and we just get right to it. And I think that's what Zach was referring to when he mentioned the Amazon video. It's like a 30-minute video where I go step by step, driving to the thrift store, scanning books, processing them, shipping them, selling them, everything, the whole thing. It's actually that video is actually one of the top search result videos for the term sell used books online. Super proud of that. It's like 150,000 views or something the last time I checked. So a lot of tutorial stuff, but also a lot of kind of relaxation. I say relaxation because it's relaxing to me to watch someone go sourcing and just kind of hear what's going through their head and see what they're doing. Yeah, that kind of stuff. vlog style with a little bit of tutorial on the side.
Yeah. Now I noticed that you said that some of these places that you go sourcing at, you get like a military discount and stuff on some of these places. So do you have any advice for people to kind of like help them save money when they're at the thrift store? I mean, maybe try bundling, or can you negotiate with some of these places? Can you talk a bit about that? And what kind of profit
Yeah.
margins do you typically look for? Because, you can say you don't want to pick up, just the first item that you see, but like you want to make sure there's some meat on the bone to make profit. So you talk a little bit about what's going through your mind as far as looking for profit margins for items that you want to flip and resell.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's talk about the profit margin there first before we get into like the discounts. I want to see sold comps selling for 4 to 5x what I'm purchasing it for. So if I can purchase a shirt for $4 and sell it for $16 to $20 plus shipping, that fits perfect for me. Now that's not like a high dollar amount, but whenever you have, like, shirts are so easy to find. If you can buy a lot of them and sell a lot of them, you will make a lot of money. Shoes, if I'm buying them for anywhere from $5 to $7, I want to see them come in at sold comps for $25 to $35 plus shipping, easy day, every day. That doesn't bother me at all. If I can find a pair of, let's say, Jordans for $25, way overpriced. There are stores that are that way. They're way overpriced. $25 Jordans used at a thrift store, but I can sell them for 100, 125. That's good business right there. Like if you can sell it for that, that's good. For saving money, like, I'm huge on this. Average your price down no matter what. An example for saving, I mean, I have like the military discount. Some places have deal days, depending on when you go. There's rewards programs with some thrift stores. Ask the managers, hey, do you guys do any rewards? Do you do any deals? Do you do any discount days? See what they say. The other thing you can do is, if you I found a pair of shoes where the sole was coming off just a little bit, and I knew I could repair this pair of shoes, but they wanted $10 for them. I was like, hey, can you guys do anything better for this pair? Just because the sole is coming off. They're like, oh yeah, $1. They knocked 90% off because I asked, and
Right.
I was able to repair the shoe. So don't be afraid to ask. See what the deals are. See what the discounts are that you're eligible for. Just keep hunting. Like, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take, right? So if you don't ask, the answer will 100% be no. But if you ask, there's a chance they might have something for you. The other thing is that I've talked to thrift store, like independent thrift stores, and said, hey, if I come in and bulk buy, will you give me a better price on shoes? And they said, yeah, if you come in once a month and you buy all of the shoes, we'll knock half the price off. So that's also a way you can do it. See what deals you can make.
Yeah, I was going to say each thrift store is different. I've seen some of them that have like a color system, and then some of the inventory that's been sitting there for a while, maybe they'll have certain days on a Friday or Saturday or something where it's 25, 50% off because they want to move old inventory that's been sitting there for a while. Like you said, if you could buy stuff in bulk, that'll give you a discount. And then some of the places you just go there on certain days. I have these mom and pop thrift stores where they have certain days where it's like everybody that's over 55, 60 years old, they get 50% off. Or if you come here on a certain day, you can get, 50% off because it's a, Veterans Day, like you said, or a holiday or something. So you're just going to have to kind of shop around and look for deals, but there's plenty out there. But, whether you're at a thrift store or a yard sale or a estate sale, guys, if you can kind of bundle, because a lot of times people want to move this inventory, just like you want to move inventory in your eBay store, they want to move inventory that's sitting there. So if you can come up there with a big bundle of stuff and say, hey, I'm interested in buying this whole pile of 20 or 30 items. Can you negotiate a deal? Sometimes they'll be able to do it. I mean, maybe not if it's like a Goodwill or something, but if it's like a mom and pop place, they'll have a place where they want to move stuff. This one mom and pop thrift store I go to, they have a whole auditorium of everything just sitting there of new inventory that just came in, and they don't want to go through and sort everything and put price tags on it. So they just go in there and say, just name your price. So I'll go in there and get, like nearly a whole shopping cart of stuff. And then I'll come up to the counter and they'll just be like, okay, well, how much do you want to pay for this item? And when by the time you're checking out and you've got a whole shopping cart of stuff and you're getting items for 50 cents, 75 cents, $1, $2, $5, then you got, your whole trunk is full of merchandise. So you just got to kind of shop around and check out, thrift stores and places you haven't been before. I mean, just type in, thrift store on your Google Maps, and there will probably be some mom and pop places that's off into the corner, especially like those like there's like churches, and they have like a little thrift store in the back of the church. Sometimes they're not really advertised really well, and you could get some really good deals there as opposed to some of these places that are raising their prices. So what's your thought on that, Nick, with some of these thrift stores that are raising their prices? Because you know that some of the stuff they got, it's pretty much all donated to them, and you're like, man, why are they asking? Why are they keep raising their prices? Don't they want this merchandise to move? What do you think about that?
Yeah, I mean, here's the deal. If we make videos about thrift store stuff and the cool things we find, and the thrift store people see these videos, 100%. I know because I've talked to them. I've had managers at thrift stores tell me that they watch my videos. They play them on a TV in the back room while they're processing gear. So,
Really?
yeah, like in a way, we're kind of shooting ourselves in the foot because they're seeing that we're buying stuff at their store and reselling it for much higher than they're selling it. So I understand where their thinking comes into play, that they want to charge a higher price because they see we're getting that. At the same time, the way I look at it is if they're a nonprofit, meaning not for profit, they shouldn't be trying to profit off of it. And I've had a manager tell me that he's like, we need some profit too. And I told him, like, you're a nonprofit. You should not be after the money like that. I do think that, okay, so here's like the big debate, right? Are resellers taking things out of the hands of the poor people? And you could, whatever you think is poor, okay? Even if I wasn't a reseller, I would be shopping at the thrift because I like it. That doesn't make me poor, and I'm not saying poor people have to shop at the thrift. However, people that are poor may tend to go to the thrift more. So I just want to put that out there. Are resellers taking things out of the hands of the poor people by buying them and reselling them? No, I don't think so at all, because that's fair game to everybody. But are thrift stores raising prices, causing people that are less fortunate to not be able to afford those items? Yes. Are they hurting resellers just as bad? No. It's actually, think about it this way. If in the past, for me, shoes were $5 per pair at my local Goodwill, anyone could go in with $5 and buy a pair of shoes. Well, then they raised the price to $8. $8 is a little bit steep. I can still make money with them, but the less fortunate people who barely have $5 can't touch those shoes. Kind of helps me, but at the same time, I don't like paying more for shoes. So I'm kind of conflicted on it because I've been seeing more inventory left in the store because of the higher prices. People just can't pay for it. I can pay for it. It's kind of hurting the people that are less fortunate, helping me, but also hurting me because I don't want to pay higher prices. I don't know. It's a revolving circle, as you can see in my brain, a revolving circle of I don't like it. It definitely does hurt the less fortunate people. But I understand why they're doing it.
Yeah, well, I just think there's no shortage of merchandise, like you said, where you live in a military town in Virginia, and there's constantly people that are, they're getting deployed, and maybe they have a bunch of stuff they just got to donate, or maybe they're relocating to another state. It's similar to that in Florida, where there's a lot of estate sales, people that have passed away, or maybe people that have second homes here in Florida, and people that are retired, and there's constantly people that are moving back and forth all the time. And so there's no shortage of merchandise. You just got to be, I was going to say the right place at the right time, but you just got to find merchandise where there's enough, enough meat on the bone to make a profit. I've been looking lately on some of these places like Craigslist and OfferUp, and you can find people that are saying, hey, I'm moving out or whatever. All this stuff's got to go. And you can contact them, and they have a whole bunch of stuff that they're just trying to get rid of. And sometimes you can get the stuff really cheap or inexpensive if they don't feel like, loading it up in the back of a U-Haul, and you can come out of there with a big totes of merchandise and stuff that they want to get rid of. And you'll find a few gems in there. So I wanted to give a quick shout out here to Jen's Multiverses here in the chat. She says, what's up, Jeff and Nick? I wanted to say hey to Zach is here. He says, I agree. Tell people what you do and start conversations. I found my second book pallet source last week. So now I'm getting 2 to 3 pallets of books delivered to my house each week. Yeah, well, that's awesome, Zach. I'm happy for you. So tell people what's going to be up and coming, because I was watching your video, and I think you said that you almost doubled the size of your subscriber base in a year on your YouTube channel. So what kind of up and coming videos can we look forward to if we go and subscribe to your channel that you're going to be producing this year, because we're still early in the year?
Yeah. So last year in January, I started January with 8,000 subs. I finished the year with 16,000 subs. So I doubled it. I'm looking to double again at a minimum. That's really, really my minimum. I would love to hit 32,000. That would be a great benchmarker for me. If it goes beyond that, I will be pleasantly happy. What are we doing this year? A lot more tutorials, a lot more kind of meat and potatoes type videos where I'm going to share what I'm doing that is actually making a lot of sales. I'll drop one right here for you. This is going to come out on a video very soon. I've been running the new eBay coupon feature through the week. So what I do is I price my items on the higher end of comps. I run a coupon for 20% off during the week. When people click on that, they get 20% off automatically. Then on Friday at noon, every Friday at noon, all the way through that following Monday at noon, I run a 40 to 50% off markdown. Yeah, markdown manager on eBay on my entire store. Now, because I get stuff like $5-6 per item, it's like literally killing it. Like 30, 40, 50 sales over the weekend, every weekend, crushing. And because I have a low buy price, I can make these sales. They end up being $20, $30 pairs of shoes, and the money rolls in. Then Monday at noon, I go back to the coupon. The markdown manager stops at sale, and so that's something that is coming out on a video very soon, where I'll show people how to make more money. With Poshmark, what are the things that you're doing that don't mean anything? What are the actions that you're taking that do not have a positive result for your store, for your closet? Following people does not have any positive reaction for your store, period. That's one of them. So there's a lot of tutorial things that are coming out. A lot more sourcing videos are coming out. And the goal is really, the aim is finer quality. I want to put much higher quality videos out than I've been doing, much higher quality videos than most people do. A lot of people just go GoPro, and that's cool. That's what I do. But I want to dive way deeper with the tech side of things to produce more fine quality videos. I hope that makes sense.
All right. So, Nick, what would be, because you've been reselling, you said since 2017, what would be some of your best advice to help somebody make more money in reselling? Like if someone came to you and said, hey, man, I need to make more money in reselling, what do I need to do?
Learn and then earn. I thought of something the other day. You have to go super hard at it. Like I have a lot of these little cliches. It's called work because it works, right? One that I thought of the other day, beast mode leads to feast mode. Right now is beast mode. Literally go all in, go heavy on the work side of things. Just like literally go grind at it for a long time. Grind at it for years. Hunt. Find the stuff in the thrift store. Do not stop. Do not rest. Rest is for the rich. That's a new one. I just thought that up. Rest is for the rich. Don't stop. Like get out, find stuff. It's the same thing every single day. Like the same steps every day that lead to getting more sales. Find stuff, photograph it, list it, sell it, ship it. Do that 1,000 times and then do it 10,000 more times and you make more sales. I don't know. I hope that makes sense.
Yeah, it makes sense. But in my brain, it's like you have two options. You can either list more items because you're selling a high quantity of items, or you're going to have a higher, a higher average sell price. So either you're going to have to list more items. So let's say if your store is 1,000 items, try to get 2,000 items in your store, or you can have a smaller store, but instead of having a $25 average sell price, you're going to have to get in a higher average sell price where, you're selling higher ticket items at around $40 to $50 because you can't. My brain and my eBay store is set up to sell a higher velocity of items. So I'm cool with selling $10, $15, $20 items, but just sell a bunch of them,
Yeah.
So they'll add up. So if you sell an item, let's say for $20 and you paid 50 cents for it, and now let's say you sold 10 of them a day. So 10 of them times 20, now you've got $200 of gross sales, and then your buy cost is super low and you're just selling a high velocity of items. So you're going to have to look at one of those two one of those two avenues. So what would be your top 3 tips or piece of advice before we let you go to help somebody with their reselling business? Because I know this is your full-time gig and you've been doing this since 2017. So maybe you can kind of enlighten us with some of your knowledge and experience that you can help our audience out with.
Yeah, I would say keep learning first off, like whether it's follow the people on Instagram or watch the YouTube videos, keep learning. I learn stuff every single day by watching people on Instagram. They post their comps, they post things about electronics or shoes or video games, whatever. I'm constantly learning and I'm constantly on the lookout now for items that I did not know yesterday. So keep learning, keep listing, because like you said, sometimes it's volume and then sometimes it's high dollar amount. And I think you can do both. If you're out looking for your high volume amount of items to sell, you will come across some high dollar amount items. So you can kind of have a hybrid there. Keep learning, keep listing, and stay hungry. Like, do not get satisfied. Nobody gets to rest. If you have a day job, you work your day job and you go home and you can rest. But when you're full-time, especially, like, there's no rest, because the minute you rest, it starts to die. That's the way I look at it. Keep learning, keep listing, no rest. I hope
It's
that's
kind of when you have a regular day job, you're kind of on cruise control because you're in a routine. You know you have to be punched in at work at a certain time.
right.
Your lunch breaks at a certain time. You clock out and go home, let's say, at a certain time at 5 o'clock. But when you're when you're a 1099, you're an independent contractor, you don't have somebody following you, or now Nick, make sure you listed your items today. Make sure you shipped everything. Make sure you did everything you're supposed to do. It's kind of on you. So I wouldn't say it's easy to get complacent, but it's easy to sit down and say, well, I'm going to watch my favorite TV show for 30 minutes, and all of a sudden 3 hours go by and you didn't get nothing done that day that is productive. So for sure. So anyways, I appreciate you jumping on and hanging out with us, as I'm glad I got the chance to sit down and meet up with you and talk with you today. Tell everybody where they can go by and check you out at on YouTube and Instagram, so they can go by and follow you and check out your channel.
Yeah. YouTube, Flipnick, all one word. And then on Instagram, official.flipnick. And I post there almost daily, a lot of Instagram stories, and I share with you what I'm buying and what is selling. A lot of videos, a lot of pictures.
Okay, awesome. Well, guys, I have all the links down below for his YouTube and Instagram if you want to go by and follow him and check him out and check out some of his videos. His videos are, I guess you would say, is more high quality. He spends a lot more time editing videos than I do. So go by and check them out. And do you have any final thoughts or words of wisdom you can leave our audience with, and then we'll let you go?
Man, a quote that I read recently: the wolf on top of the hill is not as hungry as the wolf climbing the hill. Just stay climbing. Just keep climbing. Nobody has arrived. If you look at the richest 2 dudes in the world, Elon and Uncle Jeff, the richest dudes, they are still climbing. They are hungry. Stay hungry.
It's crazy when you're someone like Elon Musk and they say that he's so obsessed with working that sometimes he'll sleep under his desk in his cubicle in his office. He doesn't have to do that. It's not like his cell phone's about to get cut off or his lights are going to get cut off if he doesn't, show up to work. But it's like they're working for something more than just money. I feel like maybe they're hustling, trying to leave a legacy, like that they're in their zone. You see a basketball player and they've hit 5 3-pointers in a row. They're in their zone. So anyways, guys, go ahead and follow our guests. All the links are down below. Flip Nick for YouTube and Instagram. And I will catch you guys next week. I'll have a new batch of guests for you guys next week. So I'm going to probably just take this weekend to do eBay stuff, and I will catch you guys next week. So catch you guys in the next video. You guys have a great weekend. Bye, everybody. Bye, guys.